the host of the Gridiron.
All right, welcome to the Gridiron, baby. If you can give this video a thumbs up or maybe share this video, that would be absolutely phenomenal. If you subscribe to my channel, thank you. Now, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. It's totally free of charge. What do you got to lose? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. If you want to help support my channel out, in the description box below, I believe it's the very top link in the description box, takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. Each one has their own little perks to them. So once again, if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I would thank you in advance. Thank you. And then finally, just underneath that, there's another link in the description box. It takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. Each one has their own little perks to them. So once again, if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. Right? And I thank you. And then finally, underneath that, there's an additional link. It takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 9,500 members in the group. It's doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, and if I got internet access, I put stuff in this group darn near 365. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You will not be dissatisfied. I promise. All right. Well, as we're getting near to the 3 games to go, thank God, as this season comes to an end for the Giants. Thank God. I didn't get a chance to see it, but it was a real good Thursday night game between the Chargers and the Broncos. I mean, good division there. I mean, both. We got the Chargers and the Broncos are both 9-6. And of course, the Raiders, I don't think they'll ever win a game ever again. Next 300 years. I mean, they're just that bad. But of course, the Chiefs, thanks to the refs and everything humanly possible, the Chiefs somehow only have 1 loss. I mean, I mean, blocked field goals at the end of the game. Fumbled snaps that the Chiefs recovered at the end. It's like it's just unbelievable. Absolutely. There's like 4 or 5 teams in the NFL who have not scored 30 points this season in a football game. And out of those 4 or 5 teams, I've seen 4 and I've seen 5. But I mean, one of them, the Giants. But like all the teams that have not scored 30 points in a game this season, they're like 2-12, 3-11. Yeah, it's like, that makes sense. You don't score a lot, you suck, and you're gonna have a bad record. But the Chiefs scored on the other ones. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. I mean, they've had a last-minute last-second field goals to win game. I mean, everything is just so far has just been lining up perfectly for the Chiefs. It's absolutely amazing. We'll have to wait and see what happens with Mahomes, his injury going forward. But I said that's it. They got a couple. I'd say you got Harbaugh. I did a video on him. Right? So they scored 15 points in the final quarter, pulled that game out. So it must have been a really good game. Said I didn't see it, but Harbaugh's done a good job with that team. They were 5-12 last year. They're 9-6 this year. I mean, they got they're going to basically probably double their win total from last year. I mean, good chance they got at least another win in them. So they're probably going to. They had 5 wins last year. They're going to at least 10 wins this season. And same thing with the Broncos. What Peyton's done. With the rookie quarterback, man, I'll tell you what, tip your cap. I mean, they're looking like they're probably going to get at least 10 wins as well. So, I mean, I got to give Peyton the coach of the year to me anyway. What he's done with a rookie quarterback, right? You got to give him some credit. But anyway, the New York Giants. I saw this article there. What has been their biggest mistake since 2020? Well, there's been a lot of them. I mean, this could be, if we went over like each mistake. I mean, each team, there's no team out there that hasn't made a mistake. There's no team out there that hasn't made a mistake each year. Just because the Giants' mistakes have been, like, obviously this season really amplified. It's amazing. I'm saying, obviously when things go bad, as they are for the Giants, you can find obviously plenty of things go wrong. But of course, even in the New York market, even if the Giants were to win the Super Bowl or whatever like that, the press and all that would still find negative things to talk about. But anyway, I mean, it comes with the territory. The Giants have, obviously had a lot of bad things. I mean, Shane's done some bad things. Gettleman's done some bad things. Gettleman's done some really bad things. And of course, Gettleman was one of the, was the GM, right, since 2020. And of course, then, Judge was, one of the coaches as well, too. So, been a lot of things, a lot of bad things go on for the Giants since 2020. But there's one analyst says, like, apparently according to there's one analyst, as I go over it, I guess Daniel Jones was not it. I mean, I thought for sure this article would have said Daniel Jones, the contract. But because ESPN says Daniel Jones' extension isn't the Giants' biggest mistake. A recent ESPN column says extending quarterback Daniel Jones wasn't the Giants' biggest mistake since 2020. What could possibly surpass that? I don't know. As New York Giants general manager Joe Shcoen's future hangs in the balance, fans are left reflecting on a turbulent tenure that once again has the draft in focus well before the end of the regular season. Yep. Although he's coming off of easily his best draft class in New York, the departures of running back Saquon Barkley and Xavier McKinney have reflected poorly upon the 2024 season. But letting those stars walk in free agency is more justifiable when one argues they wouldn't be on the next good Giants team. No, I mean, you got to look at it too. Is right. You got to look at, Burnsy's been, a lot of it was, I said Shane has his, right. I mean, you look with Saquon, obviously, without question, right. But this is his seventh season, and he's looking for a decent payday. And Shane is, once again, I mentioned this before. I said, you go back over the last bunch of, sorry, buddy, my bad, sorry. You go back, I don't know, 10, 15 drafts, whatever it's been, and you look at the running backs, what the running backs have made for the winning football teams and in the Super Bowl. And it's not a lot of money. But of course, don't get me wrong, a lot of the winning quarterbacks, are Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and the Giants don't have that. So when you have a Hall of Fame quarterback, you don't need a Hall of Fame running back. Ta-da, right? Now, they used to say Saquon without question makes his offense better, makes the team better without question. One of the things that would Saquon a lot was he get injured, right? Everybody seems to, I don't know what it is, if they have certain pixie dust over there in Philadelphia, but everybody seems to stay healthy over there. I mean, they're nowhere near as decimated as the Giants are. And I'm going to talk about this in my last portion of the program. But, everybody's just, smell like roses over there in Philadelphia. I don't know how. I don't know how they can go out there and play a 60-minute game of football and everybody runs off the field and everybody's just hunky-dory. And meanwhile, the Giants, we're going to go over their injury report. It's like it looks like a mass unit. I have no idea. Yeah, no idea. But I said Shane had his, had his numbers, and he wasn't going to pay a safety $17 million a year. And he did offer Saquon a nice little contract. Whatever, we got to go back, a year or two ago, but Saquon turned it down. And then after the season was over, I guess it was, then Shane offered him something else, but it was a lot lower because Shane seemed to have all the power, and then they franchise tagged him, right, for the one season. And then, but he did offer him, pretty something comparable to what the Eagles offered him, and he didn't take it. Now, why he took it with the Eagles and then want to take it with them? Who knows? Don't know. But Shane has his, has his reasons. He has, his certain values on each position, what he's willing to spend, and but you got to look, also is that he brought in Burns, right? We have, you can maybe say now we have one good edge rusher. I'm not sure what's going on with Kayvon. He's going to be another portion of our program too, talking about Kayvon there. But now we have one really, really good edge rusher, right, who's playing through a lot of pains and nicks. I mean, he was banged up ever since, in training camp. He's had problem with him all year long, and he's always been out there playing, right? So you got to give him a lot of credit. He's been playing his rear end off. Said I can't say that so much about Kayvon, but every team has done certain things, and every year. I mean, obviously this year that's been amplified, obviously, because Saquon's doing as well as he is with the Eagles, and McKinney's all those interceptions he has with Green Bay, right? I mean, of course, he had 5 in the first 5 weeks of the season, but in the last 10 or weeks or so, whatever he's only had 2. So it is what it is. But we drafted Newman to replace McKinney. We drafted Tracy, who's, he was a 5th round pick. He wasn't the 2nd overall pick. He was a 5th round pick. Newman and Neighbors were also on course, right, on a path to do something that's only been done 2 times before in football. I guess professional. I mean, one was in the AFL, one was in the NFL. Right, it's only been done twice before, right? And that's 2 rookies reach 1,000+ yards in a season, total yards in a season. I guess meaning running and receiving. So we have a running back that granted. If we had could open up the holes that the Philadelphia Eagles line does with Saquon, would have even a lot more yardage. He'd have if he was on the field with the 2 wide receivers they got and all that stuff, and he'd probably have even more receptions. He has over 900 total yards so far. If he was on the Eagles, Tracy, he'd add even more. He'd be well over 1,000, I'm sure by now. Right? If he had the lion's shares of the snaps like Saquon does, right? Tracy would have well over 1,000 yards right now. And Tracy costs, I don't know, what 800,000 or 900,000, whatever his draft value is. Saquon costs $13 million. So Saquon costs 13 to 14 times what Tracy does. Is Saquon producing 13 to 14 times? No. And once again, Tracy has over 900 yards right now total. If Saquon was on the Giants right now, would Saquon have the same kind of numbers he does with Philadelphia the Giants? No, of course not. No, just they look so bad because he's on a much better team. He's on a much better team, and I've said this 1 trillion times, and I will say this till the day I die: that there's no salary cap there. Howie Roseman's done a good job developing a very good team, but it's because he brings in all these people and he pushes all their salaries down the road. And he owes Jalen Hurts is like $97.5 million in 2028 or 2029, something like that. I mean, they just all their salaries just pushed all down the road. So when you do that, you can keep bringing good players in. Right? There's no salary cap there. He owes like $400 million in futures contracts. Just pushes everything down the road. It's all about now. That's why his team looks so good. That's why I said, man, why are the Eagles so good? And we stink. Well, I mean, they did a good job of drafting. I said, I mean, their offensive line coach is probably maybe the top 2 in all of football. 30 G-Man, happy holidays. Ho, ho, ho. I mean, they got a very good team, and they just keep bringing in good players. But I said there's no salary cap on the Philadelphia Eagles. There is none. Right? The Giants don't have the same good team that they have. They had a good draft as well, too. Got to give them some credit there. But, Shane put values. And, as I said, let's see. What does Xavier McKinney got here? Xavier McKinney. All right. Let's see. What's he got as far as tackles this year? Let's see. Because, Newman was leading the team. He got tackles here? Okay, he has 75 tackles. And was he a 7 or still has 7 interceptions? So, the first 2 games of the season, right? First 5 games, I think he had interceptions, McKinney. Right? So he has 75 tackles, and Newman had over 100, I think it was. Let's see if I can. Now, this, of course, is according to Pro Football Reference. Now, of course, Newman, won't be getting any more tackles. Newman had 98 in 13 games. Xavier McKinney has 75 tackles in 14 games. Right? So, if Newman played last week against the Ravens, right, he would have had a ton more tackles. So Newman would have had well over 100 tackles. So Newman would just say it had 105 tackles if he played, if he didn't get injured in 14 games. Xavier McKinney has 75 tackles. Newman's got 30 more tackles, right? But of course, what makes McKinney, is all these interceptions. But he's I'll still take it. 10 ways to Tuesday, don't get me wrong, but he's only had 2 interceptions in the last 9 weeks. I'll take that, especially because our team stinks, right? But the lion's share he's had 5 in the first 5 weeks, I think it was, and ever since then he's only had 2. Right? He has 75 tackles. The guy we drafted him, who costs 18 to 20 times less the money than Xavier McKinney, would have about 30 more tackles than McKinney. So the guy replacing McKinney has more tackles, right? So it is what it is, right? It would be nice if we could get some guys in there who can actually intercept the passes, and you would think with Bowen's defense, right, more of a, not so much of a man-to-man, more of a kind of a zone kind of guy, you figure would maybe pick off some more passes, but that's just not the case. That's not the case. We're on par to tie an NFL record, I think, with 2 interceptions in the whole season. So far, we have still got 3 games to go. So anything's happening. Anything's possible. Maybe we can get an errant pass or a tip pass or something like that and pick it off. But all right, so let's see. Let's see. For that, Shane's biggest gaffe, extending quarterback Daniel Jones, is to blame. New York was always going to extend Jones after the 2022 played host to a surprise playoff run and the most efficient year of Jones's career, but the results have been predictably sour. With a crash landing in 2023 and his benching at the bye week of week 11, less than 2 years after his contract, he was released. However, ESPN recently ranked the biggest mistakes each team has made over the last 5 years. New York's biggest blunder, as it turns out, wasn't under Shane. Former general manager Dave Gettleman signed receiver Kenny Golladay to a 4-year, $72 million contract in what proved to be among the worst signings in the franchise history. Well, but that was 4 years, $72 million. Daniel Jones was 4 years, $160 million. Galladay it was $18 million a season, right? Daniel Jones was $40 million a season. So, says the former Lions wideout had missed most of the 2020 season due to hamstring and hip injuries, Bill Barnwell wrote. A remarkably cold wide receiver market left just about everybody else settling for short-term or modest deals, suggesting that he would follow. Instead, former general manager Dave Gettleman signed him to a deal with $40 million in practical guarantees over the first 2 seasons. It was a contract that showed no regard for the dynamics of what was going on during the 2021 offseason. Barnwell took issue with the signing due to the market it came from, a misevaluation of Gettleman's part, and a whiff at giving Jones a top target that wouldn't be rectified until 2024 when receiver Malik Neighbors entered the fray. Even so, it's hard to list any move over extending one of the league's worst starting quarterbacks. Pressure from the fan base and ownership surely played into the decision, but Shane and head coach Brian Daboll were brought in to develop a rookie passer. Extending Jones may end up costing them that opportunity. Had New York not extended Jones, it could have traded up in the 2023 NFL draft to roll the dice on one of the class's top 3 passers, or it could have signed a cheaper bridge quarterback like Jacoby Brissett and spent the extra cash ensuring stars like Barkley and McKinney eventually stayed in town. The Galladay deal was horrible. That's undeniable. But poor quarterback play has left New York without the ability to play competitive football, hollowing out MetLife Stadium in the process and delaying the inevitable quarterback selection in a class that looks worse than the 2 prior. If Shane doesn't draft the face of the franchise in April or get the chance to, he'll have the Jones decision to thank. So, but I mean, as I said, there's, woulda, coulda, shoulda. I know. I certainly right now. I mean, obviously the Daniel Jones decision to give him that 4 years deal for $160 million certainly does not look good. But you also got to give Shane some credit. Nobody's giving him any credit. I'm just trying to play the nice guy here. He had it in the contract where he can get out after 2 seasons. Not 3, not 4, not 39, 2 seasons. 2023, 2024, 2 seasons. And Daniel Jones is bye-bye. Now they're moving on, right? Of course, there's some dead money next season, right? But the Giants will have some money to spend. They're right now, right? They're battling, how do you want to say it, against the Raiders for the top pick or the top 2 picks or whatever. Right? It's tough to say. There's no Andrew Luck in this. There's no Peyton Manning in this. There's no John Elway. There's no, you get this quarterback, you're good to go for the next 15. As we've seen in the past, just because you draft a quarterback number 1 does not mean you're going to the promised land. Don't mean that, right? So it does not mean Shador or Ward is taking us to the promised land. But, we're battling head and toe with the Raiders. One thing would be, cataclysmic to the Giants' chances would be possibly winning a football game. If they win a football game with their winning percentage, their opponent's winning percentage is so high, the Giants would plummet from like number 2 to like number 7. And would just fall right out because there would be like 3 or 4 teams in front of them that need quarterbacks. And you can bet your bottom dollar that Ward and Shador would be gone by the time the Giants would draft at number 7. There's other quarterbacks out there you can draft in the 2nd and 3rd round, and maybe one of them might work out. There's bridge quarterbacks Giants could sign, right? For this next season or 2 until maybe they get another quarterback. The thing is with that, is you don't know with Shane and Daboll how long their lifespan is with the Giants. Because if they draft a bridge quarterback and we'll wait a couple of years, we'll get in that draft and we'll get it. If it's not next year, the following year, maybe a couple of years, we'll get that. They may not have that much time. So right now they're in prime position to draft either Ward or Sanders. Now the thing is that just say the Giants want to pick a number 2 and the Raiders number 1. Say the Raiders take Sanders. If the Giants are not enamored with Ward, they might have to pass on him, or maybe take some phone calls, right? Slide down in the draft, pick up an extra pick or 2, let somebody else take Ward, right? And the Giants have to get a franchise or not franchise, have to get like maybe a bridge quarterback or something going forward, right? And they'll have to find their future quarterback some other time. The one thing is that it'd be interesting. What do the Giants? Because obviously free agency is before the draft. Do the Giants go out and try to sign a Sam Darnold for a couple of years? And then try to find their quarterback. That'd be interesting to see, because it's always it's the free agency and then the draft. So it'd be interesting to see the Giants go out and spend big, try to get a quarterback in just to get one in here. And then, also by that time, when free agency does roll around, the Giants will also know, this will be a good indication what they think about the quarterbacks. Say the Giants are picking 2. And all the indications, for whatever reason, say the Raiders are going with Shedeur. So the Giants will be like, well, we probably good chance we're going to get Ward. And we don't like them, right? So you're going to know that before free agency. So before free agency, when free agency rolls around, that's when you go out and you try to bring in, one of these upper echelon bridge quarterbacks just to set yourself up going forward. So that maybe the Giants could pass on Ward, or they bring Ward in and they draft them and they try to, do the best they can with them. But I mean, Shane and Dable, they only got so much time. They got to find themselves a quarterback sooner or later. But in that article, it said the Kenny Galladay, was the worst mistake the Giants had. It's arguable. The Giants made a lot of boo-boos, a lot of bad things. One of the things is that it's easy. It gets pointed out when guys leave the Giants and they go elsewhere and they flourish. It's amazing, and I'm going to bring this dude up a little bit later in our program. But let me just show you. Okay, let me just show you. You don't usually see this from the New York market because it's something positive for the Giants. Right, so you don't usually see this, right? So let me just show you this here. My main man, pots and pans here. If I can find it here. Share screen. Okay. Well, I got 37,000 tabs. Oh, there we go. My man, pots and pans here. I love him. Right. This guy stunk with the Giants. He went someplace else, and he stinks. Right, but nobody brings that up because that makes Shane and whatever look good. So we don't want to. The press don't want to do that. They only want to talk about the negative stuff. But my man, pots and pans, right? Anybody remember this smile? Shane Lemieux. He's with the New Orleans Saints, right? So if we open this up there, right? So it's the 2024 season, right? So look at these grades here. He played for the Saints. He was their center. He played in 4 games, 74 snaps in week 4 against Atlanta, 70 snaps against Los Angeles, Cleveland. He played 19 snaps, week 11. So he's played a grand total of 163 snaps, Shane Lemieux, right? So, just look at the grades. Pretty much the same as they were with the Giants, right? 43, 44, 37 pass block grade. Now, you can come down here and look. This is just like, look at this here, 2022. Shane Lemieux, pass blocking grade, a 0. A 0 with the Giants. He's got a little bit. Here, now this 1 week, this was the first week of the season. It was against the Broncos. He played the first quarter of the. It's when he partially tore his patella. The guy can't even walk and chew gum without getting injured. It's unbelievable. He partially tore his patellar tendon in training camp, like he was tying his shoe, and I think his patellar tendon literally exploded. I can't even talk about this guy. I'm going to go over this guy a little more later on, right? But I just. Oh. But anyway, he played 17 snaps. He fared out pretty well against the Broncos in that first quarter, but this was just a small. There's only one quarter of play in the 2021 season. But I mean, you look here, right? Yeah, since with the Saints, he grade is 43 overall. Overall grade 43. I mean, with the Giants was a 34, 29, and 32. You know what I mean? So, so Shane Lemieux did go. Giants don't have him. He's someplace else, and he's not doing too well. But of course, nobody brings that up because that's something that makes Shane and all that, look good. He played 4 years with the Giants. They're like, get the out of here, right? And he's going someplace else, and he stinks. So now, does that mean? Obviously, I think if he probably, it's going to do with coaching. If he went with the Eagles because they have a good, phenomenal offensive line coach, he'd probably be doing even a little bit better. But it is what it is, right? All right, then I saw. So I'm going to talk a little more about Shane Lemieux in my final portion of the program here because he's got something to do with something I want to talk about here. But we got here. I saw this article. It says that the final stretch here, right, could be a telling for some players' futures for the New York Football Giants. Now, obviously, we got a lot of our draft picks, right? Some of them looking for, want to keep them around going forward. One of them was like with Kayvon, because I believe the interesting thing is with Kayvon, and like Evan Neal, you have to pick up their fifth-year option before the fourth year starts, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So, what are the Giants going to do? Right. I mean, obviously, Evan Neal's under contract for next season. Kayvon Thibodeau's under contract for next season. So, but, what are they going to do? Right. What are they going to do before next season starts? Right. If you don't pick up their fifth-year option, right, after next season's over with, they become free agents. But you would have the first chance of maybe re-signing them. Right. But if you pick up their fifth-year option, like you pick up Kayvon's fifth-year option, that could be $15 million, right? He might want 20 or 25 for a long term. I don't know, 25. I don't know. It was some of his numbers. I don't know, but he might want 20. Just say. Well, you want to pick up his fifth-year option for 15, and then extend his contract going forward. Might save yourself a little bit of money. I'll have to wait and see. But it's next few games. I mean, for some of this. In this article, it talks a lot about, obviously, the Giants' draft picks and some of the hits and some of the misses we've had. Right? This is from the New York Post. Giants' final stretch could be telling period for several players' futures. There is no peace for the New York Giants. Are there pieces? As a franchise record-tying 9-game losing streak, a rash of injuries, and a banner-carrying airplanes flying over 2/3 filled stadium turn up to the temperature on a lost season. The Giants are 2-12, still need to evaluate their players to know what they have moving forward. Yep. I don't think it makes it difficult. Head coach Brian Daboll said they compete as hard as they can. You evaluate their technique. You evaluate their understanding of the schemes, their competitiveness, all things that they have to do at each position. Here are 12 this way or that way players, 9 draft picks and 3 veterans, of whom you can ask what he really has as a player. When these next 3 games are over and the offseason begins. General Manager Joe Shcoen traded up in 2023 third round to draft, this is the big one here, Jalen Hyatt. After nearly taking him in the second round is the former Blitnikoff Award winner, a fringe player, as his 7 catches for 53 yards this season and 0 touchdowns in 30 career games suggest. Or is a coaching staff that has used him for 16 or fewer snaps 7 times to blame for the underdevelopment? Well, that's a possibility as well, too. right? I mean, it's once again, it's like, can this guy run routes, or is it the coaching, or is it just the scheme we're drawing? I mean, is it just, what's the problem? How come he caught 37 touchdowns against Alabama, but he can't catch a touchdown against anybody in the NFL? Are we putting him in the best position possible to be successful? Or, I mean, the guy just can't run a route. He can't run anything. I mean, the guy's like grease lightning, and we can't get the guy open. Nothing. Hang. He has 7 catches all season long. You trade, it's like, but I mean, it's kind of makes you wonder. It's like, well, a couple of things. It's like, well, why did you trade up for him? And you traded away another draft pick to get the guy. I mean, you traded up your 3rd and the 5th round pick to get the guy, and now you don't even put him on the field. I mean, are you that stupid? I mean, well, this guy can't run around, or you guys just can't. I mean, coach him. I mean, sometimes you look, right. You look at, everybody's different, right? Situations are different, but you look at Sam Darnold, right, with the Jets and Carolina and San Francisco, but he couldn't do much there. But then again, those teams weren't very good. The Vikings, I think, are relatively still healthy. He's got some phenomenal weapons. He's looking like almost goddamn Joe Montana out there, isn't he? I mean, he's looking good, right? Different situation, different schemes, different coaches, getting the most out of them, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, what the heck's going on with Jalen? I mean, he's like getting worse. It's like, why is this guy getting worse? I mean, to be fair, last year we had Jalen Hyatt, right? We had Wando Robinson. We didn't have Neighbors last year. Obviously, Neighbors going to play 137% of the snaps, right? So somebody's got to get the raw end of the deal, and it was either probably going to be Slayton, or it was going to be Hyatt, and apparently Hyatt's the one getting the Slayton's out there running the routes because he can, and he's fast. Of course, we got Wandale, right, and then you got Neighbors. So, but man, I mean, took the dude in the 3rd round, and he guy's not on. Yeah, wow. And you traded a 5th round pick to go get him too. Wow. I mean, kind of makes you wonder. It's like, if we kept that 5th round pick, right? What could we maybe have gotten for a 5th round pick, right? Then wasn't McFadden the 5th round pick? But 2022 was he the 5th round pick? Wasn't Tracy our 5th round pick here this year? I think McFadden was the 5th round pick. I know Tracy was a 5th round pick in 2024. What could we have gotten in 2023 with our 5th round pick? If we drafted Tracy and McFadden, we drafted basically 2 starters. Drafting a starter in the 5th round is pretty good, right? So I mean, so you traded up and you traded away your 5th round, which could have possibly been a decent player. So that's a swing and a miss right there. So it's going to be very, I mean, we still got the guy under the contract and all and everything, but it's interesting going forward if Dable is still the coach and all of that. It's if we were to lose Slayton, which we might, it's going into the off season. I mean, just saying Higgins is out there possibly. I mean, it might be a couple. I mean, Higgins is going to cost you some money though. But I mean, if you were to get Higgins and Neighbors out there, now we might be talking a little something here, right? Might have 2 number 1 wide receivers, kind of, right? I mean, wouldn't be too bad if we can get a quarterback in there, draft a quarterback, and go out and right. So it's gonna be interesting to see, because if we can't put Hyde on the field, if you just can't develop, he can't run the routes or whatever it is, I don't know. I'm not a wide receiver. I was a tight end in high school for a period of time. We didn't have phenomenal routes, but I have a hard time believing. I don't know what I can't even talk. You can't run route. You can't work on running routes and, oh, yeah, he ran that route 317 times. He just can't do it. He can't run 10 yards and then he just can't do it. I'm like, what? Yeah, you can't run a 10 and out. You know. I don't know. I mean, obviously, there's a lot more to it than that, as far as, breaking down and, getting out of your breaks fast and stuff like that. But you would think if he could, I don't know, maybe he's just not working hard enough at his craft. That's possible. Don't know. Because sometimes a lot of these guys get, things look really, really good to them in college and they think everything's going to be handed to them in the pros. And that's just not the way it works all the time, right? You got to go out there and earn that. Let's see. So we got a bunch of other guys here to talking about. One was Wando Robinson. And the one thing is with him, right, is his yards per reception. It says, as Darius Slayton heads to free agency, can you comfortably pencil in Robinson as the number 2 receiver out of the slot? Not based on his 7.4 yards per catch, which is ranked 139th in the NFL on 111 targets, which is number 14. So he gets a lot of targets. Unless you think that's a symptom of poor quarterbacking and the yards after catch that he has meant to provide is being masked. Now, that's true. Now, obviously, with that, a lot of that, obviously, with yards after catches, I'm running across the middle, just saying, right, very slowly, right? But, as I'm running, hey, hit me, baby. I'm running, and you hit me right here, right in stride. Put the ball away, and I'm off and running. Or if I'm running across the middle, hey, I'm open, hit me, right? And as you're throwing the ball, I gotta turn around and make a one-handed catch. I gotta dive back at the ground, secure the ball. Now I'm laying on the ground because you threw a crappy pass. I mean, that's possible. The ball's way up in the air. I gotta jump up in the air, tip it up in the air, and wait for it to fall down, catch it in that amount of time. 37 defenders on me, and they bring. Right. Also tells you 7.4 yards per reception. It also tells you that they're not having him run really deep routes either, right? So that has something to do with it as well. But a lot of it is, yards after catches. Can you hit the dude in stride and keep him running? I mean, one of the most deadliest things that I ever saw, right, was Joe Montana, right, to Jerry Rice, that slant, right? Joe Montana get the snap, take. Whatever it was, 3 steps, bam, playing, looking for Rice, cutting him, boom, hitting him, boom, and stride. Rice is gone. You ever look at the 86, I guess, divisional round, because the Giants weren't a wild card. So I guess the divisional round when they beat the 49ers 49-3. I think the Raiders, it might have been the opening drive. I mean, might have been 7-0. I mean, before Joe Montana got knocked out of the game, right? He hit Rice in stride, right? Rice caught the ball. Whoop. Rondell's shifty, but no speed. Another bad pick. Well, it's possible. That's possible, right? But with Rice caught the ball in stride. Right? I mean, Montana's Hall of Fame quarterback. That's what you do when you're a Hall of Fame quarterback. You hit the dude in stride. You don't make the guy dive back or nothing, but he hit Rice in stride. Rice caught the ball, ran through the Giants defense, ran the 15-yard line. I don't know why. Rice is running with the ball. The ball pops out. Fumble! And the Giants wound up recovering it, I think, in the end zone. 1st and 10, Giants the other way. So would that have changed the game? No, yeah. Giants would have won 49-10. But after that, that's when shortly after that, Montana got knocked out of the game, and the rest of it's history. But I mean, do you hit the dude in stride, right? So I mean, we're going to be talking. There's another one portion of our program we're going to be talking about. Will be our I guess our 6th quarterback, not 6 different, but our 6th quarterback. We'll talk about that when we get there. But I mean, we don't have Hall of Famers throwing the balls to these guys either, right? But Wando Robinson, 7.4 yards per catch. I mean, And you figure, it's one of those things too. It's like, you get something and you take off. He's maybe shift whatever, but maybe that open end speed is not phenomenal. But if you would catch something and would go, right? Now, your 7.4 yards is 8.4 because you got one 72-yard touchdown reception, right? Which helps. But it's a 7.4 yards per reception. It's like that, yeah. Poof. Evan Neal. Here we go. Is it time to put the bust label on the 2022 number 7 overall pick? He has started the past 5 games, allowing 2 sacks and 12 pressures after losing his starting job following last season's poor play and foot injury. Offensive line experts say Neal still is on the ground too often. He won't be the starting right tackle in 2025. Should he be tried at guard? I think so, or traded for pennies on the dollar before his walk year. Well, I think they'd be foolish if they didn't try to guy at guard. Move the dude inside. He's shown he has power and all. Right? He has a hard time with those freakish athletes coming around the edge and all of that. But if you got somebody who's more his size and all of that, and you keep him in a phone booth, right? He could be more productive, but we'll have to wait and see. It's the same thing with Eric Flowers. When he finally got moved to guard with other teams, I can't remember if Miami had him at guard, but I know what the hell they were called. They were called the Boston Braves, then the Boston Redskins, the Washington Redskins, the WTFs, the WFTs, Washington. I don't know what they were called when Flowers was there, but they moved Flowers in at guard, and hey, he wasn't an All-Pro or nothing, but I think 2020 was his final season. I think it was. I gotta move my legs, but he didn't do too bad. The guard. I don't know why the Giants are just not trying to do the guard. I don't know, but they have a big decision to make, right? Kayvon Thibodeau is Shane as a top 3-round pick to celebrate from the 2022-2023 draft classes. If he has a top 3 round pick, first, second, or third round pick to celebrate, it would be him. But the former number 5 pick is quietly playing out the stretch. Thibodeau has 18.5 sacks and 5 forced fumbles in 40 career games after missing 5 this season due to his wrist injury. Supporters point to his run defense. Critics say the metrics behind his 11.5 sacks in 2023, 6.4 pass rush win rate suggest it was unsustainable production. And he's not setting the world on fire this year. And I know obviously last week, I think it took to 11 minutes left to go in the game before he even got an assisted tackle. It's like, dude, where are you? You want the big buck? I'm not saying the guy's got to have 33 sacks a game and strip sacks like he did last time we played Kayvon. I'm not Kayvon. We played the Ravens. Remember that? Right? He went in. He forced the fumble. I think Leo the Lion jumped on it. And while Leo was, I don't know why Kayvon was doing this, but Kayvon knocked the ball loose, right? And it was like a scramble for it. And Leo was like jumping on it. But even before I think Leo even was totally secured the ball, Kayvon for some reason was doing the salsa. I don't know why you're doing the salsa when the ball maybe wasn't 100% secure. Why don't you get in the pile, make sure we got the ball? Giants ball, then you get up, and then we fucking salsa. Why don't we try some of that? But this is going to be, big for him, right? To the Giants, it's not going to look good for Shane. You got a pick 5 and a pick 7, and you don't pick up either one of their fifth-year options. Whew. So, all right, and we got John Michael Schmitz. Just because he clears the low bar as the best of Shane's 4 offensive line picks. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got Neal, Azudu, McKeithen, and Schmitz. He's picked 4 guys, and it's like, Doesn't mean that he should be penciled in as a starter. The 6-year collegian was advertised by scouts as a plug-and-play starter near his developmental ceiling. He is ranked as the number 53 center by Pro Football Focus and is still getting knocked off the ball by power rushers. Yeah, I mean, the one thing, I mean, he is, he can get overrun. That's for damn sure. I mean, is he smart? Is he tough and all that stuff? Yeah, but I mean, we're kind of open for a 2nd-round pick. I mean, if you get a little, to be a little bit better. I mean, he definitely needs, without question, to get stronger. That is for darn sure. He has some good games, but he also has some bad games as well too. So, right, some of those picks. It's kind of like. Good old, I got this one here too, right? We traded for this guy too. Traded up to get this guy. Mr. Banks. Right? Made Wink Martindale very happy. But Wink is long gone. All the good vibes that Banks created as a solid rookie are now gone. The 2023 first-rounder's tackling effort was questioned multiple times. He's allowed 6 touchdown catches in 12 games. The season proved he is not up to being a number 1 corner, but can he be a solid number 2? Shane claims that he doesn't draft for scheme, but Banks sure seemed to be a better fit for the man-to-man press coverage. Obviously, which is what Wink ran, and Wink was very happy because after they drafted him, Wink picked Shane up and gave him a bear hug and cracked Shane's back like a chiropractor would. But he might have to move him to maybe the number 2 cornerback. So now we still might need a number 1 cornerback. Now, Flott's done very well this year. The problem is with Flott, guy can never stay healthy. Guy weighs 48 pounds. I mean, he's not very big. He hasn't had a bad season this year. Hasn't had a bad season at all. But, I mean, do we have a number 1 cornerback on our right? So we got a lot of swings and misses here. Some of these, I mean, I said this draft class here so far, I would say, knock on wood, really looks good. If we can duplicate that again this upcoming season, that would be huge. And then they talk about a couple other guys here. I mean, I don't understand this. Telling futures, Micah McFadden. Unlike most youngsters on this list, McFadden's arrow is pointing up. It must be determined if his 102-tackle, 3-sack breakout so far is just scratching the surface, or if it's the product of someone needing to fill out the stat sheet with so many injuries. 2022 5th-rounder Motors never runs cold, and he's getting a small late-season taste as a defensive signal caller. Yeah, I mean, you need to draft somebody else. Yeah, I mean, that means a 5th-round pick. So, I mean, what do you he's a 5th-round pick. The guy's supposed to be Hall of Famer. Why isn't he Hall of Famer? I mean, 5th-round pick. He's not doing. Is he Ray Lewis? Is he Harry Carson? No, of course not. Is he ever going to be? No. Is he going to have? Is he going to miss some tackles? Is he going to this? Is he going to? Oh yeah. Is he going to? His motor never stops. Is he going to make some tackles? Is he going to try this? And yeah. I mean, once again, he's a 5th-round pick. Right? You can't expect the world from him. So I mean, to me, that's a good pick. That's a good pick. Then they also talk about, I don't know why, Theo Johnson here. Rookie's 4th-round pick was just hitting his stride as a pass catcher when he suffered a season-ending foot injury on Thanksgiving. Can he be counted on to elevate next season? Yeah. The Giants didn't trust Daniel Bellinger to do the same after a very similar rookie season. Well, that's true too. Then they talk about Drew Phillips. I don't know why. I mean, obviously he got injured. I mean, that to me it was a fantastic pick. But I mean, it says here he's allowed 32 catches allowed on 38 targets and 5 starts across 11 games. But I mean, he doesn't give up a lot of yards. So I mean, to me, he's very very, very solid pick. Then they talk about Jason Pinnock. Thing is with Jason Pinnock, obviously, is because he could be I think a free agent after this season. The pending free agent is the signature waivers pickup of the regime, which has squeezed 34 starts out of a Jets cut. Pinnock is best at blitzing, but his angles in pursuit and positioning on deep balls has opened the door for big plays. Shane has had 3 of the NFL's top 10 safeties, as graded by PFF, walk out the door in recent years, and rookie second-rounder Tyler Nubin is considered the future of the back end. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, because if with Pinnock, obviously it's going to be one of those things. It's kind of like he's going to maybe test free agency. What's he going to want? Right? Is he going to want whatever? I'm just throwing a number out there, $12 million a year. I don't know. Right? Is that something Shane's going to want, or is he going to have to once again wait bye and we're going to need to replace him? Belton didn't do too bad this past week, but I mean also you got to did Belton do good? I mean with tackles this week, was that because the tackles came to him? Because we didn't stop him up front. Belton was also part of the problem in the secondary. They gave up 5 touchdown passes. So it's going to be interesting there. I mean, what happens once again in the offseason? Do we keep Pinnock? Do we let him go? Do we bring in and try to draft another safety? We'll have to wait and see. We've had some success, right? Drafting safeties in the second round, right? We've had some success, right? Collins, McKinney, Nubin. We've had some success. So maybe I don't know if we're going to pick a safety in the second round this year, but yeah. All right, then we got. I mean, once again, the Giants. This is just like. I mean, it just the number each week just keeps going up and up and up. It just, it's the injury report swells to 21 players against the Falcons. Now, once again, I mentioned this kind of like last week. I think it was like 19 players last week. So now, once again, these guys are just on the injury report. Doesn't mean because if you're on the injury, you're on the injury report, you're not playing. Oh, I'm sorry, where are we at? You're on the injury report, you're not playing. All right, that doesn't mean that. Means there's something wrong with them, right? A little nick or something or whatever, and on the injury report. But as I said, it just I can't even. Sometimes I can't talk. It's just unbelievable. You look at like the Giants, is 21 players, and you look at other teams, they got like 3 guys on there. It's like, don't they play football? Don't they? Doesn't that team play football? They play football. Haven't they played football this year? Why is every play we get somebody injured and the other teams they go through whole games and there's nobody? What? So the Giants injury list might take me about 3.5 hours. So if you guys are a little tired, you might want to grab a pillow, maybe a cup of coffee, keep yourself up. It could take me a couple of days to read the injury list here. So this is so far the view of the week 16 injury report. And then I got them for the Falcons too. The Falcons got a little bit of a list here too, but it's not what the Giants have. So I'll just go over here. So we got Burnsy, the guy that once again the dude's a freaking warrior. The dude's a warrior. Now he has an ankle and a neck. Right? He did not participate Wednesday or Thursday. Okay, but darn well he'll be out there playing. Darn well, giving it his all. Right. Outside linebacker Patrick Johnson, he did not participate. He has a knee. He did not participate Wednesday or Thursday. Bobby Okereke with his back. We'll have to wait and see there. He did not participate Wednesday or Thursday either. Aaron Stinney, concussion. He did not participate Wednesday or Thursday. Greg Stroman, the cornerback, a shoulder and a shin. He did not participate Wednesday or Thursday either. Tay Banks with his rib. He was limited in participation Wednesday and Thursday, so maybe there's a chance, maybe he plays. We'll have to wait and see. Dane Belton with his knee. He was limited in participation Wednesday, but full participation Thursday. Tommy Chicken Cutlet Parmesan, he was limited. He's concussion, no contact. All right, so we'll still have to wait and see. Will he be able to be cleared for this week's game? We'll have to wait and see. A lot of times, you get that concussion. A lot of times, maybe you might miss the first game. So, Corey Durden, the shoulder, he was limited on Wednesday, but full participant on Thursday. Cordell Flott, he's got a quad and a finger. I'm not sure which finger it is, but he was limited participation on Wednesday and Thursday. He's always got something with him. Art Green, another cornerback. He has a shoulder. He was limited participation on Wednesday and Thursday. Drew Lock, his heel and his left elbow. He was limited on Wednesday, but we're going to talk about him. He was full participation. He was a full participant on Thursday. Chris Manhertz has an ankle. He was limited on Wednesday and full participation on Thursday. Malik Neighbors, that dude's always got something. Once again, the dude's a freaking warrior. He had a groin. He had a hip. He's got a knee. He's got a foot. He's got 90 receptions, over 901 yards, right? He was limited on Wednesday. He's full participation on Thursday. And the dude's going to be playing on Sunday. These are the times, right? When you right, when you haven't won a game in 300 years, and these are the times when the guys are banged up, this, that, and the other thing, and they just go out there and they play for the love of the game, right? They're freaking warriors, and say what you want or whatever, But Burnsy, dude's a freaking warrior. I'm happy he's on the team. Really, really happy he's on the team. And say what you want. Nothing but good things about Malik. Dude wants the ball. Throw the MF for the ball because he's that freaking good. And he's had a bunch of injuries, little nicks and this and that. But the guy goes out there every week and catches a ton of passes for a bad team on a bad offense. So we got two warriors there. So I'm happy. I'll tell you what. I had 3 thumbs. I give 3 thumbs up to Malik Neighbors. Nacho, the neck and the shoulder. He was limited both days. Drew Phillips with a shoulder. He was limited both days. Wando Robinson, he had a shoulder. He was limited both. He was limited Wednesday, but full participation Thursday. John Michael Schmitz, he has an ankle. He was limited both days. Tyrone Tracy with an ankle. He was limited both days. Inside linebacker Deontay Johnson, he has an ankle. He was full participant on Wednesday and Thursday. And Austin Slootman, whatever you want to call him, with a fibula, he was a full participant. Now remember, he got injured earlier in the season, but he's back. So, all right, then we got the Falcons. Caleb McGarry, the tackle, he has an elbow. He's a full participant. Darnell Mooney, their wide receiver. Yeah, he was a limited participant, but it was not injury related, just rest, like what they do with Sexy Dexy. Hodge, their wide receiver with ribs, he did not participate in Thursday. So their tight end Ross Dwelly, ankle, he was limited in participation. Charlie Werner, another tight end, he's got a quad, he was limited in participation. Zach Harrison, a defensive lineman, he was injured, not injury related. He once again rest. He was limited in participation. Casey Washington, wide receiver, concussion, he did not participate. Lorenzo Carter, remember him? He has a groin, he was limited in participation. So look, if he winds up playing, look for him to try to at least get a sack in this game against his former team. Nothing would do better. The same thing, with him. It's just we let him go, right? Could you imagine if we had Carter, we had Aziz who's injured, you have Kayvon, and you have Burnsy? That would be a nice foursome right there, right? Because Carter can get you something. And I think he left after his contract was up. The Giants didn't resign. I think he left for like $3 million. Let me see what does he have? Let's see here. Oh. Let me see. Up on there. Okay. Here we go. Just wanted, I'm wondering. All right. Because, he I don't, he wasn't developed fully or exactly what it was, but damn, he's been gone. I thought he was only gone for 2 years. It just shows you he's been gone for 3 freaking years already. What's he got? Okay. His first year after he left the Giants, he had 4 sacks. Then he had 3 last year. But last year he played in all 17 games. He only started 1, and he had 3 sacks. This year he doesn't have any sacks. He started 8 games, played in 10, and he doesn't have any sacks this year. So, but I'm saying, he actually had 5 sacks for the Giants, and he had I think his last 4 games or so with the Giants, I think he had those 5 sacks, and it just shows what he could do. And then the Giants let him go, and he signed with Atlanta for like nothing. But it is what it is. But wow, geez, God, time is flying. It's been with Atlanta. I just thought it was just 2 years. It's been 3 years. Wow. All right, then we got, what else we got here? Richie Grant, the safety, he had illness. He was limited participation. Nate Landman, an inside linebacker, was a rest day for him. He was limited participation on Thursday. Chris Lindstrom, a guard, not injury related, just another rest day. He was limited. And Duke Orhoro, Rook Orhoro, defensive lineman. He was limited participation. He had a rest day as well, too. So, they really only had what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They had 8 guys. They had like 4 guys who were limited because just from rest. So they only have like about 8 guys who were on the injury list. So they'd be relatively healthy going in. The Giants, on the other hand, we'll have to wait and see. But as I said the same thing last week. You kind of wondering what, if they hold a guy out like Bobby or Karake. Now, he wants to play and they want him in there and all, but you kind of wonder, take another week off, Bob. Let's make sure we lose this game. You know what I mean? So, kind of wondering, right? All of a sudden, we got 20-something guys injured. Just simply amazing. All right, then, of course, now we go to back to the 6th quarterback, meaning, right? So we have so we started off with Daniel Jones. Then we went to Tommy Chicken Cutler Parmesan. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to need 2 hands here, right? Then we went to Drew Lock, right? Then he got injured. He played 2 games. He got injured. Then we went to Tommy Chicken Cutler Parmesan, right? Then he played half a game. Then we went to Boyle, right? Now we're back. Now we're over to Lock. So we got six quarterback. Basically, and it's also not so much. It's not like not the 6 different quarterback. Of course, we've only had 4. DeVito's gone in 2 times. Locke has gone in for 2 times as well. But also, it's been, right? Daniel. It's not like it wasn't like mop up duty. We're up 49-3. Hey, let's get that second stringer in there. Get him some snaps. Yeah, he went along. Go play some football. Now, we had Daniel Jones because he was our starter, right? Right. So then, of course, obviously benched him, let him go, whatever you want to call it. So, we needed another starter. So we had Tommy DeVito, right? He played 1 game and his forearm, right? So we needed another starter, right? So we went to Drew Lock, played 2 games, and he just got banged up and pounded and pummeled and so bad he can only play 2 games, right? So then we had to go back to this. And Tommy's forearm healed up after, I guess, the 2 games off, right? So we went back to him because Drew Lock couldn't go, right? So then half a game in after that, Well, one play before the halftime, I think Boyle had to go in there, right? So basically, Tommy lasted half a game, right? And he was out with a concussion, and we had to put Boyle back in there, or had to put Boyle in there, right? Because DeVito was concussed. So now DeVito's with still in concussion protocol. Boyle's the fourth string or third string quarterback now, I guess. So we got locked back in there. So I mean, and it's like the six different, not different player, but 6 different times I put a quarterback in there due to need. Yeah. Once again, you don't see other teams doing that. Only the Giants. Now, of course, a lot of that also has to do with guys getting banged up and beating. That's because they're getting pumped. They're running for their lives, or they're not very good, right? They're not making good, quick decisions, getting rid of the ball, or maybe reading the play correctly. I mean, if you go up to the line of scrimmage and you've done your film study and okay, I think they're two high safeties. Okay, I think they're going to do this. I think whatever. I think they might roll their safety, might roll their corners this way, but okay, I think, all right. I think I'm going to hit him over here. So, diagnose it, take a couple steps, boom, get the ball. You don't get hit. But if you don't know what you're doing, or offensive line's a sieve, or your wide receivers don't get open, or whatever, you got to hold on to the ball, you got to run around, you got to run for your lives, you're going to get hit. So, that's some of it as well, too. But then again, even the best ones get injured, to some extent. I mean, look at Mahomes. He had a high ankle sprain. Then again, you look at other guys like Josh Allen. It's like, I don't even know if you can hurt that guy. The guy just looks for people to run over, and he just gets up and just, all right, guys, first down. Let's huddle up. It's like, our guys can't even play a half without hurting their arm, their heel, or it's like, really makes you appreciate Eli, right? Really makes you appreciate it. I don't know how that guy did it. Wasn't a muscle on the dude's body, and somehow, week in and week out, he just came ready to play football. Simply amazing, wasn't it? Really miss Eli. But so putting Locke back in there. New York Giants know who their starting quarterback will be versus the Falcons. Drew Lock appears to be healthy enough to return to the lineup. Drew Lock will be the starting quarterback for the Giants on Sunday versus the Atlanta Falcons. Head coach Brian Dable told reporters on Wednesday that Lock recovered enough from the heel and left elbow. I mean, that heel and a left elbow injuries in 2 games. So he returned to practice and will return to the starting role. Lock had started the previous 2 games prior to missing Sunday's game against the Ravens. Tommy DeVito in the concussion protocol after leaving the game versus Baltimore just before halftime has a chance to be the backup quarterback, of course, if he passes the concussion protocol. If DeVito does not clear the protocol in time, Tim Boyle will be the number 2 quarterback. So I don't know, what would wind up happening. Obviously, because the way the Giants are going through quarterbacks here is that, who's going to be third quarterback? Yeah, do you have an emergency quarterback? Yeah, I'll have to wait and see. It'd be interesting. I said if DeVito passes, right, but he's running out of time. Let's see. We got Giants turn to Drew Lock as a starting quarterback. Another week, another starting quarterback for the New York Giants, who plan to go back to Drew Lock against the Falcons. Lock will square off against the Falcons team quarterback by Michael Penix. It'll be very interesting, right? So we will know, right? Well, who was Michael Penix's first start ever against? The New York Football Giants. He was named Atlanta's starter Tuesday night over veteran Kirk Cousins, who's had a miserable last 5 games. He's thrown 1 touchdown and 9 interceptions. Lock did not play in last week's blowout against the Ravens because of his heel injury. He was also dealing with the left elbow problem. Drew should be okay, Dable said before Lock went out Wednesday and practiced for the first time since ditching the boot on his foot. The Giants haven't been able to settle on a starting quarterback since benching Daniel Jones last month. New York surprisingly turned to Tommy DeVito, the team's 3rd stringer all season, up at that point for the November 24 blowout loss to the Bucs. Jones was released prior to that game and eventually signed with the Vikings. But DeVito injured his forearm against the Bucs and missed the Thanksgiving Day game against the Cowboys, opening the door for Locke to start the next 2 games before his heel injury forced New York to turn to DeVito last Sunday against the Ravens. It's definitely different, Locke said, but at the same time, Tommy was upset when he got his bell rung. He didn't get to play. I went in there, the heel thing happened, and then he goes back in. We've just had some unfortunate things happen, and we just keep rolling with the punches, which is all you can do. DeVito was knocked out of the game after going 10 for 13 for 68 yards in the first half behind a tattered offensive line. He was ruled out with a concussion, but was back on the field Wednesday with the likelihood that he will be Locke's backup Sunday if he progresses without any setbacks. He's moving through the protocol, Dable said. He's doing something today. He'll have a chance to be the number 2 against the Falcons. Veteran Tim Boyle finished Sunday's loss to the Ravens, drawing the Giants' first touchdown pass since Jones on November 3rd. Boyle went 12 for 24, 123 yards with a touchdown and interception, basically all in the second half. It's all a little different with each guy, Dable said. Certainly you like one guy in there the whole time, but that's not the reality. No, it's not. Giants are currently riding a 9-game losing streak. Coincidentally, Penix's first start will come against one of the teams that passed on him in the draft. Obviously, that's going to be one of the huge things, right? If Penix has a nice game, he's got some nice weapons. So, I mean, if Penix has, he might. I mean, because if the Giants' secondary is still, right, missing players, he might have a good game. And then, of course, the headlines would be Penix plays, right? Why didn't the Giants draft him? It's amazing. It really is amazing. It's like when the quarterbacks do good for another team, it's like, why did the Giants draft that guy? But when players go past the Giants in the draft and they get drafted and the quarterbacks suck, well, you don't see headlines. Well, thank goodness the Giants passed on that guy because you don't see that. They just bring up the negative stuff, right? So, of course, that'll be a huge headline if Penix goes out there and has a really good game against the Giants this Sunday. So, which he might. He's had what do you want to say, 3/4 of the season, if not more. Be on the sideline, know the plays, so he's familiar with the offense. I said he has some really good weapons to go with. He'll be at home, right? The Giants are, really ravaged by injuries, especially their secondary. I mean, last weekend, the secondary, one of the reasons why, I mean, if everybody was healthy for the Giants, if we had all the guys in there in the secondary, is Lamar's throwing for 5 touchdown passes? Quite possibly not. Would we have lost? Well, quite possibly, yeah. But was he going to throw for, I don't know, what was he? 99 out of 100, 5 touchdown passes. I mean, the quarterback rating was perfect. I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous his stats were. But, I'm saying, but we were totally ravaged by injuries. Right? So I'm saying, Penix might have a good game. Yeah, it's a decent game. I mean, if the Giants, their secondary is, if obviously Newman's not going to be there, right? If Flott, Phillips, and Banks can't play as our 3 starting corners, right? So, all right, and we got 5. This one right here, I just saw this one here. Well, I didn't see this one. I made this one up, right? And just kind of something is the Benjamin, because what's it all about? It's all about the Benjamins. Everything's about the Benjamins. Man, we can make some money here. Yeah. Is it the blame for so many injuries? Well, and this is where I'm gonna kind of go back to my main man, Pots and Pans. And I don't mean to pick on him. I was pulling for this guy big time, without question. Shane Lemieux, when we drafted him, the guy had nice attitude, nice smile, positive, he's kind of somebody you kind of pull for and all and everything. So I was always pulling for him, but then, of course, then I always wound up making jokes because all the dude was injured. It's like, how how do these guys make it through college and they can't even tie their shoe in pros without popping an ACL? Like, what the f is going on? Well, I just want to show you. I mean, I can't remember. I used to remember when he was on the Giants. It's either 34, 35, or 35, 36, or something like that. The numbers are consecutive. 34, 35, 35, 36, meaning 3,435 or 3,530 snaps Shane Lemieux took in college. And that doesn't even include high school either. So let me pop this up here. I'm going to have to go back to his college days, and I'll show you. Here we are. I'll show you the snaps he had, right? Okay, so there's a smile. Love the dude's attitude. Nice, right? But, all right, so we're going to go to NCAA, and we'll go back to whatever year, 2019. Now, let's go back to the snaps. The total snaps he had was consecutive, as I said. 34, 35, 35, 36, something like that. So let's see all the 4 years he played. Okay, here we go. 35, 36. Okay, he played 4 years of Oregon. See, 35, 36. That's the only way I can remember it. 3,536 snaps he took in college. 35, 36. Unbelievable. 3,536 snaps. Now let's just look. Is this his last year? Okay, so what are we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 freaking games. 14. He played 14 games senior season. All right, so let me stop sharing. So 35, 36. Right? Okay, well, so let's go to pros then. All right? Because in 4 years, 35, 36. Right? So here he's been in pros for 5 years, and he hasn't even come up with 800 snaps. And then you look in the last 4 years, right? The last 4 years. I mean, what? 250? He's had like 300 snaps the last 4 years. Now, obviously, a lot of that, too, has to do with are you good enough to be a starting in the NFL? If you're not, well, you're not going to get the snaps. But it just goes to show you, right? He had a lot. His rookie season, he had a decent amount of snaps. But of course, he was injured. But the last 4 years, he's had about 300 snaps. But once again, my thing is, I said in college. I mean, his final season, he had 14 games he played in. What I was going to do, I wanted to do was, in this on the thumbnail here, I was going to type in is high school / college the reason for so many injuries. Now I could have done either one. I just put the Benjamins in there. But I said, is right now when I played high school football, right? I said I stunk. And that's the reason why I didn't play my senior season. I just was not good. And I lost interest and I stunk. So I didn't play a lot. I played, but I didn't play a lot. But I just lost interest. So I didn't, I said we played like 8 games, maybe 9 games, When I first started watching I'm an idiot, college football. I think it was 1971, I think it was. It came on at nighttime, Notre Dame came on. I looked at that gold helmet. I'm like, wow. Then they said Notre Dame. I'm like, wow, that's fucking cool. That's cool. That's some cool stuff right there. It's not Ohio or Michigan or Pennsylvania or Texas. No, Notre Dame. I'm like, whoa. And I saw that gold helmet. I'm like, oh, man, that's my team, right? Well, I think they lost that night to LSU, if I'm not mistaken. But ever since then, that was my team, the gold helmets and all that. You go back then, right? I mean, they played like 9 games in a season. I mean, if they played double digits, that was oh my God. That was mind blowing. I mean, double digits might have meant the regular season, and maybe a bowl game, or maybe they play 10 games and then they play the bowl game or something like that. I mean, nowadays it's like, I said, Michigan won last year, right? And they were 15-0. And they played 2 bowl games, right? Because you got to the Final Four, so you got to play 2 games to get to the final, right? Well, I mean, this year, if the same thing with Michigan last year, Michigan, right? Because they have 12, right? 4 teams get a bye. So last year, let's just say Michigan would have got a bye last year, right? So then those 8 teams, once Notre Dame's in there playing Indiana, go Irish. Tomorrow night, baby, or tonight, be there, right? But so the 8 teams are playing. So out of that, there can be 4 winners. So you got the 4 teams resting and the 4 teams that would win the first round. So now you're down to 8. So you go from 8 down to 4, down to 2, down to 1, right? So that's 3 games you'd have to play to be the champion, right? So last season, if this was like this, Michigan quite possibly would have to play 3 games last year instead of 2. So last year, possibly Michigan might have to play 16 games. I said, I mean, once again, yeah, I know sometimes you're almost talking oranges and apples and all that. I said, but you go back to, once again, not that anybody's going to do it. You go back to like the 20s, 1920s, right? When Newt Rockne was the coach of Notre Dame. I mean, they're like 8-1, 9-0, maybe 7-1-1. They're playing like 9 games. Now they're playing like 15 games, 14 games, 16, or whatever. You know, I don't even know. I mean, like, just suppose, well, I don't know. Let's just say, let's see here. Just suppose. Well, Georgia's got a bye. Well, no, that's okay. Let's see. We're at 2-0-2-4. Let's go Georgia. Bulldogs. All right, let's see. What are they? Okay, they're 11-2. All right. So they played 13 games. They got a bye, right? But I think Notre Dame would have to play, if Notre Dame wins, or Indiana, they have to play Georgia in the next round. But so Georgia's played 13 games already. They would have to play, if they were to get to the finals, they would have to play 3 more games. They might have to play 16 games. I mean, it's like I said, you go back however many years ago, right? I mean, they're playing like 9 games, 10 games, maybe 11 with a bowl game. Now we're playing 13, 14, 15, 16 games. But I mean, this is just not like 1 year, right? I mean, they play 13 games and they're going to a bowl game. I mean, almost every team now, once again, what's it all about? It's all about the Benjamins. Everybody's bowl. I'm bowl eligible, right? I ran for a first down in a college game, so I'm bowl eligible. I just got to get 10 other players. Everybody's bowl. You're bowl eligible. You just don't know it. Everybody's bowl eligible. What? It's all about the Benjamins, right? You got the Humpty Dumpty Tampon Tampex bowl. Get the. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. You got someone, Utah State Tech A&I, who's 1-17, going up against Colorado Union School of the Blind, who's 1-41. I mean, in the Tampex Bowl. It's like, once again, I'm an old fart. You got to forgive me. All right, so please forgive me. But when I first watched bowl was an honor. You had to earn a bowl. You know what I mean? You win a coin toss nowadays and you're bowl eligible. That's bowl crap. I mean, this is all about that, right? I mean, back you had to be 8-2, 7-2. I mean, if you had 7 wins back in this, I mean, man, it's like, I don't know. We're only 7-2. I don't know. That may not be good enough to get. I mean, nowadays 7-2, they'll throw 30 bowls at you nowadays. 7-2, you know what I mean? but it's all about the money. It's all about, so they keep playing more and more games. More, I mean, everything has a life expectancy on it. Not everybody can, play 800 years, 800 snaps, every year, this, that, and the other thing, and just keep on chugging on. Everything has a expiration date on it. All your joints, this, that, and the other thing. And the more snaps that you have, you're just wearing yourself out. Same thing like, with high school. I know my high school, I mean, to be fair, my high school, we play like 8 or 9 games. I think they're playing like 9 or 10 games now. If they go to the playoffs or something like that, they might have, I mean, not because we stunk back then, so we didn't really ever make the playoffs, but, they play maybe like 1 extra game nowadays. So to be fair, the high school is not too bad, right? But the college is unbelievable. But another one of the things is being all about the Benjamins is sometimes it's to save money, sometimes it's to make money, right? Well, because you play a bowl game, you played extra games, it's all about that, all about making the money. Well, sometimes it's all about saving the money, right? Now, what I had when I played football for Washington Township, it's about 3/4 of a mile as the crow flies from where I sit right here, where I went to high school at 45 years ago. It was grass, right? But there's the upkeep of it. The grass was never very good. I mean, obviously, it was one of those things as the season wore along, the middle of the field got more and more worn out. And after the season was over with, and when the spring rolled around, they put some grass seed down. The grass would grow, and they would water it, and it would start looking good. But then we would start chewing it up as the season wore along, But it was the upkeep of it. You had to water it, you had to fertilize it, you had to mow it, you had to grass seed, all that stuff to maintain it. You had to keep liming it. You got to pay people to do that. You got to lime it. Mowing it, watering it, fertilizing it, grass, all that stuff. It's all about, right? Well, I mean, you spend a little bit of money. You put down a turf field. Ta-da! No more fertilizer, no more weeds, no more grass seed, no more mowing, no more watering, nothing. Right? I'm not saying you put it down one time and for the next 300 million years, you never have to worry about it. I mean, obviously you have to probably replace it every now, but you're saving yourself some money, right? And the fields only last so long, but but you're saving yourself a bunch of money. But because you're saving yourself some money, I said, regardless, I mean, whatever I read or see or whatever on YouTube, or any other videos and all, it always seems like the players really like grass, not turf, right? So you go back when I was playing high school football 45 years ago, there was no turf fields. Everything was either grass and dirt or just like all dirt. So, I mean, some of the poorer schools, it was pretty much all dirt and weeds, right? I mean, we had dirt, we had grass, and some weeds, but it was all grass. And I don't ever remember anybody in high school, anybody on my team, running, backing up, running forward, running around. Bam! Oh, what happened? Oh, the ACL, it's gone. Yeah. Or running, bam! What happened? Oh, you popped the Achilles. Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's out for the season. It wasn't none of that. None of that. I mean, guys, guys might be broke a bone or something like that. You know what I mean? You get rolled up on here, something snaps or something. Or whatever. There was none of that. Now, I mean, you see a lot of fields astroturf. Heck, I cringe at the sight of it. Every time I pop a Notre Dame home game on, what do you see? AstroTurf. I'm like, come on, man. Would Newt Rockney stand for that? AstroTurf. Right? Wear and tear on the joints. I mean, you hear a lot of these guys is that after they play a game on grass, then they play a game on turf. When they're on turf, I mean, some of their joints just feel a little more tired, a little more worn out or whatever than they do on grass. right? And not only that, but you're playing more on these fields, and therefore you have a expectancy, a life. I mean, things just wear out. As I said, most players, things can just start wearing out on them. And when you wind up playing, I mean, some of these guys, look at it. I mean, some of these guys got 5-6 years of college. Yeah, he's coming out. He's 72 years old. He just played his 95th season of college. He's gonna be drafted as a coming to the draft. He has 1,442,000 games in college. It's like, I mean, I said, back in the day, if you had 30 to 40 games, that was a lot. I mean, now, the guys are playing 13, 14, 15 games. I mean, you're getting like 50, might playing 40, 50 games before you come out of college. That doesn't include high school. And if you're playing on turf in high school and you're playing on turf in college, playing 40, 50, I mean, it's not like 40, 50 game, whatever. I mean, that's, and all, I said that, Shane Lemieux, 3,536 snaps he played in college. And he comes to the pros and he can't even walk on the field without popping his Achilles heel or something going wrong with him. Remember Olsen Smith? Right? I mean, the guy, he'd go in there, he was always hurt. What the fuck is wrong with this guy? So, I mean, the thing is, it's like, it's a guarantee. We're going 18 games. Why? What? Huh? Because it's all about the Benjamins. That'd make me $1. Right? It's all about the money. Show me the money, right? It's all about the money. They don't give a rat's rear end about the players, right? I can make me some money, right? Now, 18 games. Why? I mean, I get it. I get it, but I don't. Once again, I grew up in a 14-game schedule. 14's fine with me. Why we're playing? I mean, you can be pretty rest assured that it's going to stop at 18. Because if I go back 3,000 years ago when I first started watching football, right? It was 14-game regular schedule and 6 preseason games. I'm not a rocket scientist, but 14 and 6 is what? 20. Then they went to from a 14-game schedule to a 16-game schedule in 78. So they went from the 16 games, and they went from 6 preseason games to 4. 16 regular, 4 preseasons, what? 20. Then, of course, they went up to 17 games. What? Because it's all about the Benjamins. And then, of course, they went down to 3 preseason games, 17 and 3, 20. Now, of course, they're going to 18 because it's all about the Benjamins. So they go to 18, and of course, they're only going to probably, maybe, I don't know why, only have 2 preseason games. I would still like at least 3, but maybe 18 and 2, which once again is 20. So you can probably pretty much rest assured that 18 might be it, right? But I mean, all we're doing is more wear and tear on these players. Obviously, they're going to get compensated for it. Thank goodness, as they should. Good for them. But, I mean, the amount of seasons that they can play might just start coming because they're playing more. Everything is more, right? They're maybe not playing more, maybe. I'm just thinking from New Jersey. That's all I'm thinking, right? But they're playing a lot on artificial turf in New Jersey. A lot of wear and tear. But then they go to college. They play Alabama, Georgia. I mean, they play a ton of football, right? Tons of football. Then they come to the pros, and a lot of it's on artificial turf, and we're playing more and more games. Now, like when we had 17 and regular season and 3 preseason, or 16 and 4, a lot of the starters didn't play all the time. Very limited role. Well, now with the 18 and 2, I mean, the 2 preseason games, the starters may not play much at all, period. But the starters are going to be vitally important in those 18 games. I mean, the thing is that when I first started watching in 4 seasons, 14, 20, you played 56 games in 4 seasons. 56. Now we're playing, now possibly in a year or two, when we're playing 72 games in 4. So when I first started watching 56 to 70, it's 16 games. In 4 seasons, right? They're playing a whole extra season, basically, than what I was before. They played 56. Now they're playing 16 extra games in the same 4-season span. They're playing 5 seasons, but they're cramming it into 4. Some of the teams do a very good job of keeping guys healthy, injury-free, and good for them, and God bless them and all that stuff. And whatever they're doing, keep it up, right? I mean, the Eagles are doing a phenomenal job. Certain teams do, maybe because they're playing on grass also, maybe. I haven't checked the logistics. I haven't checked that stuff out, but some teams are just getting totally decimated. And it kind of makes you wonder, all the high school games, playing on turf in high school, all the college games, playing on turf in the pros, all the pro games now. It's just, it's once again, is that almighty Benjamin what's really, really behind some of these injuries anyway, shortening the careers and everything of some of these players. Because, once again, I'm an old fart, so you got to forgive me, right? But the more it's about the Benjamins, the more I hate it. Can't stand it. So, all right, guys, been 1 hour and 41 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you, thank you, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replays, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.